Hello, about 13 hours have passed and I've got, this is what has happened to it. See, looks very nice, you know. If it takes a little bit more time, don't worry about it. It depends on the temperature of your home, you know, the season of the year. In the summertime, things will rise a little faster, but you know, basically overnight is what you're leaving it. I have a large baking pan lined with parchment paper. I'm going to spray it. This makes it a lot easier to get the bagels don't stick to it when you're like at the step where we have to boil them. You know, you're not like the bagels aren't sticking to it. It makes it easier step. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to dump this let me just wipe this down. There's a little condensation here, sorry. I'm going to dump this down and I'm going to press it out. I'm going to cut it out into basically 16 pieces, and I'll show you how we roll it, okay? So, yeah, let me go get spatula, sorry. So we're gonna come like this. Just gonna scrape it off of here. Once you get it going, it kind of comes away nicely. Let's see. It's going to be a big blob. Ugh, let me pull this away. It's stickier than usual for some reason. Oh my gosh, okay. Usually doesn't take that long. I don't know why it's sticking as much as it is. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. So, got a big blob. I'm going to just press it down. I'm going to make it roughly into a circle. You'll hear some bubbles popping. And the author of that book, Emily Rafa, she says to make it out into a rectangle, but I think it's easier to make halves when it's a circle, make equivalent pieces. So I got it there like a circle, okay? And I'm gonna just cut a big cut down the center. Now this is making 16. So as best as possible, I'm going down the middle. And I'm gonna cross this way, so now I got a quarter section, so that's gonna make 4 bagels. Oh, excuse me, let me show you. This quarter is going to make 4 bagels, okay? So keep going at that. And you just kind of half. Sometimes you get a puny one. You just kind of maybe, that one's gonna be puny. Let me get a little bit more dough. There we go. Steal a little bit from another one. And basically you're rolling them into balls first. So we're going to be making 16 balls, okay? We will let them rest for about 10 minutes and then we will poke holes in them. So grab this. Again, the bagels will not all be exactly equal unless you're going to be fancy and weigh each piece of dough, which I'm sure they do in professional businesses, but you know what? This is just for fun. And grab another piece. And again, we let it rest for 10 minutes. And then basically once you're done forming all the balls, you cover it for about 10 minutes. And then you come back and you poke the holes. So I'm going to continue making these 16 balls. I'll come back to you after the 10 minutes. So I'm going to recover them. And I'll show you how to make the balls, the holes then. Hi, we're back. It's been about 10 minutes. We're going to start forming the holes for the bagels. So I have, by the way, it's 2 trays of bagels that I have. I don't know if I made that clear before, but you do need the space of 2 trays, and hopefully you have a big enough oven for that. So I'm going to take one of the balls off. Let's see. So we got these balls. So I'm going to just pick one up. And basically all you do is kind of pinch a hole here. It's not going to, I generally have to kind of give it a little tear. And I go like this. It gets a little bit smaller as it rests, but it depends on how big of a hole you want. I mean, you could stretch it again as you're about to put it into the boiling water and make it a bigger hole. Or okay, when I make my Asiago bagels, I like a small hole because I want it to capture the cheese, to keep the cheese on top of the bagel. So, you know, in case you don't know, bagels have to be boiled before they go into the oven. So After I finish this process, we're gonna let these rest for another 20 minutes. In that time frame, I will have a pot of water boiling, and they will each get boiled for about almost 2 minutes apiece, okay? Emily Rafa, she says 30 seconds, excuse me, for each side, adding up to a minute. I do a minute and add up to 2 minutes. I don't know why, it just kind of works for me, but I don't know, you could play around with that, what do you like? So anyway, I'm gonna continue making these holes. We're gonna let them rest for 20 or so more minutes, and then we'll be ready to boil them, and they go straight into the oven after they boil. And I'll talk a little bit later about putting toppings on. Lately we've just been doing plain. I do have a little trouble getting the toppings to actually stick, so I prefer plain, to be honest with you. The Asiago bagels, I'll do another tape on that. Those are pretty easy, but the topping definitely sticks. You can do everything. You can do sesame. I'll coat these with a little coating of egg white before that goes into the oven, which gives it a nice sheen. But again, I guess maybe because I'm not a professional, getting the toppings to stay on, I'd say about half of the sesame seeds stay on, and it just got to the point we thought it wasn't worth it. But if we're in the mood, if we're having people over, we might make a couple flavors, sesame and everything bagels. But for the most part, I make plain. Okay. Oh, and the Asiago. Okay. See you in a bit. I've made all the holes. These are going to rest for 20 minutes or so, and I'll boil the water. Hi. About 20 minutes have passed, and I have a pot here of boiling water. And what we do is we add about a tablespoon of honey to the water, thereabouts. I don't think it has to be real exact. And I just stir that in so that it will dissolve. Okay, so next we're going to take, I got the tray of bagels here ready to go, okay? What you do is you plop them in. They each get about a minute per side. So you could stretch, if you want a bigger hole, you could stretch it out before you go in, whatever you really feel like. It doesn't really matter. I'm probably a little too aggressive about how many I put in at once just because of timing. But let's say I got 5 in there. I could fit a 6th, 4 to 6 in there, and let it sit for a minute on that side, maybe a little less. And again, I think I told you the cookbook says 30 minutes aside. I usually do a minute aside, but I think there's some freedom there with what you want. And once they're out, what you could do is you can, and let them cool for a bit, but you could just brush some egg whites on the top, and it makes a nice little shiny coating. I don't know that you'll see me if I'll show you that. Maybe I will. We'll see. Anyway. These are already, you could make your own egg whites, or these are just from fragments, what I already got. Okay, so it's just about a minute has passed. I'm going to turn these. I'm actually going to turn off the video because you're not going to watch all this. I will go through the entire, however many, I think it's 18 bagels I got out of this. I did end up getting more than 16 bagels. Sometimes they end up being really large. So anyway, I'm going to flip these. Poke it a little bit. There we go. And another minute. And I'll be back when they're all done. Okay, so it's time to take the last set of bagels out of the water. And basically, I let the excess water drain, because I don't want a soggy bottom. So as best as I can, I kind of tap the water out. This is a large slotted spoon. I'm sure any slotted spoon will do just fine. I'm not a big fan of buying any special equipment to do this because you just glum up your kitchen with junk, and mostly what you have works. So just try to keep this a low budget operation is what I recommend. Okay, so I got this set of bagels here, and I'm ready to put a little bit of the egg wash on them. Again, this is optional. They come out fine without it. It really just makes it a little bit prettier, you know. So let me make that a little bit better. And you don't want to get too much on because it will kind of look like egg white on top there. So you really want to be just sparingly. It's just, again, for looks. If you wanted to put a topping on, now would be the time. You just have a shallow dish that you, let's say, put a little shallow dish of poppy seeds, and you just turn the bagel over and stick it on and try to press in as well as you can so that it actually sticks, you know. But again, it's your choice. By the way, I have preheated my oven to 425, and they will cook for, now I have had to work this out. They cook for a total of around 25 minutes, but because I'm putting 2 trays in my oven, the top tray ends up cooking faster than the bottom tray. So I end up basically taking the top tray out first and then giving the bottom tray about 5 more minutes. The bagels are done when you insert the thermometer in there, and you, between 200 and 210 degrees Fahrenheit, and then they are cooked. Usually they end up being around 205 is where I usually end up playing. You know, it works out. And then the only other trick is some people get frustrated with the bottoms burning, of whether it be of bread or of bagels. So I'll show you when I put this in the oven. Basically, out of the 3 racks, the top 2 are for baking the bagels. The bottom one just has a cookie sheet on the bottom, and that's because I must have a heat source at the bottom of my oven, which is, you know, there's heat source coming from the bottom. It's more likely to burn the bottom, so that cookie sheet on the very lowest shelf is just to protect from burning. There are some ovens, I think, that have a top source of heat, so you have to know your oven. So let's see if I could film this going in. So what I do is, again, I put them both in, and again, the top shelf goes for about 20 minutes, and then the bottom shelf for more like 25. Okay, let's see if I could do, oops, I have to switch this. Hold on. I'll stop the tape. Okay, so I'm gonna open the oven. And you see that cookie sheet at the bottom? That's the very bottom shelf. And then in here goes one. This filming is not going very well. And here goes the second one. You guys know how to put things in the oven, I think. And then we will come back in 20 minutes. The top shelf should be done. I'll show you how the top rack is done, but the bottom rack is not. Okay, I did check the temperature. It was 203 degrees. It's been 23 minutes, by the way. Look at these gorgeous bagels. Okay, isn't that beautiful? I'm gonna put them on a cooling rack and give these other babies about 5 more minutes. I'll check. Okay, so see you in a bit. Hi, we're back. So anyway, the bottom rack finished up to around 205 degrees. Here's how they look. They look gorgeous. So I don't know if I could give you a good picture of that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. So today I assembled the bagels in the morning and let them rise over the course of the day, and then cooked them at night. Probably the better thing to do is actually to assemble them in the evening. Go to bed, wake up in the morning. You'll be excited to get out of bed. You know, again, give them about 12 hours or 13 hours to rise, that first bulk rise, and then cook them like we did this morning and enjoy a nice breakfast, because these will be great to eat in about 20 minutes to a half hour. They'll still be warm, and you know, you could toast them or not. I actually do like them warm and a little bit toasted, both. So just a little advice. But anyway, enjoy. Hope you make some great bagels. Bye-bye.